All right, everyone. First things first, we do have a lot of protests that are happening across the United States of America. This is happening right now in real time. It's not getting covered a lot by mainstream media. We're here to talk about it. Look at some of the videos that are taking place. I've got my coffee here to help get me through it. So let's sit back, enjoy a Saturday night together. Look at how the world is kind of unfolding around us. In some ways, the world is crumbling around us, and we are just watching what happens and trying to protect our families to the best of our ability. Hey, Bama J, Eric, Hunter, Kay, thank you guys for joining us here on this Saturday night. It is February the 1st. Can you believe that we had all of those things happen just within a 30-day period here in the USA and, of course, all across the world? So if you guys have a location you want to drop of where you're calling in from, I'm at the southern end of the Appalachian Trail, northern part of Alabama. I saw a radiation semi-truck going down the road today, and it's just those things that you look and you're like, it's really interesting what we're starting to see and becoming normal now. And those things do travel across our highways all the time, but it's just 1 second away from disaster. And that's kind of what we're starting to see, that no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on, you could be a moment away from a life-changing disaster. I call that a personal SHTF. So that's like your own. If somebody in your family has a heart condition, grandma falls and breaks her hip, a car accident happens, those are all personal SHTF events, personal, hits the fan events. So just things we've got to watch out for there. If you are calling in from the USA, glad to have you here. If you're calling in from anywhere around the world, we're glad to have you here also, guys. We do not care where you come from, just that you know where we're going. So here's hedge funds. They're betting against Trump right now. They're betting against the United States of America right now. And they're saying that the US dollar is about to be kaput. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We've been watching this dollar crash happen for a very long time. I don't think, glad you're here, William. Glad you're able to finally catch a live stream. I don't think that this dollar crash is going to be easily met. I think we're going to see it, and it's going to take place over the course of, maybe years even. But it is something that is going to make real bad change here in the USA. It looks like we are down about half of our normal viewers. So let's give them a second to come in right before we start really, going over what's happening. But actually, let's dive right into it. So we've got hedge funds right here betting millions, billions of dollars on a market crash. Now, according to these reports, investors placed 10 times more bets on U.S. stocks falling than equivalent bets. So they're betting that the U.S. stock market is going to be the one that takes a dip. It suggests that traders are sitting on huge profits from earlier chaos. The increase in short bets marks a turnaround. Now, they're saying that the sentiment of what is happening right now, the sentiment, so like the feelings and emotions behind what is happening, that is really what's driving the idea that the USA is going to fall, the bottom's going to fall out sometime here soon. Let's move past this one. We've got the U.S. military conducting airstrikes against the Islamic State operatives inside of Somalia. All these planes are crashing, guys. You've got the picture here on the right-hand side. Somebody said, and we've got some audio here from an FBI guy, that they said these things always happen in threes. Now, of course, that's kind of like mystical. I can't bet on that. It won't make me change any of my plans, but it's something that you have to kind of go, okay, well, is there more coming? And that's the question we all have in our heads, right? Is there more that's about to come? And that's when things get a little bit scary, because there's definitely more coming down this pipeline. The U.S. military conducted airstrikes. They did this against Islamic State operatives, which a lot of people say that the U.S. military and the U.S. government created the big bad wolf. Now, these are the first attacks in the African nation during President Trump's second term. Hegseth said that the strikes by U.S. Africa Command were directed by Trump, coordinated with the government of the country of Somalia. The initial assessment by the Pentagon indicated that multiple operatives were taken out in these attacks, that no civilians were harmed in the strikes. They destroyed the caves that they live in, they said. Killed many terrorists without, and in any way harming civilians. They say our military targeted these ISIS attack planners for years, but Trump said Biden and his cronies wouldn't act quickly enough to get the job done. We will find you, he says, and we will whack you. Now, Trump didn't identify the planner, the so-called planner or attack planner of ISIS, but it is probably a bigger operation. Hey, Ron and Karen Durham, thank you guys so much for joining us here, and thanks for being a joined member of the Full Spectrum Survival family. Do you think that this is where it's going to stop? I don't. I think we're going to see these types of things happen over and over again here in the U.S. and here around the world. This is a good listen, okay? Let's listen to this. I've got to turn it the other way so that I don't get in trouble.
Imagine if I went to Africa and I wanted to live there, right? And all of a sudden, Africa wanted to deport me back to my homeland, the United States of America. And imagine if I went and I protested against Africa and I was lifting a United States of America flag in protest, saying I wanted to stay in Africa, but waving this flag from another country. How crazy would that look? How crazy would that be? That's exactly what's happening with people that are protesting right now in the United States.
Now, he's right, because if you look at these protests that we see right now across the USA, these protests involve people who are, maybe they're not even of a nationality or background that is affected by these immigration raids, but they have people waving the flags of other countries, which if you wave a flag of your country, right, what does that symbolize? That symbolizes your unity with your country, right? Not necessarily your heritage, because your heritage isn't necessarily, my heritage wouldn't be American. It would be my unity with America that I would be symbolizing. Our soldiers wear the flags on them. Why? Symbolizing unity and a part of that country. So we have people protesting all across the country in the USA right now, holding unity with these other countries that are experiencing large amounts of immigration or deportation events. So what do you think is really going on here in the minds of these people?
They're lifting up flags from different countries in protest of being deported back to those countries. Think about that. How wild is that? If you love that country so much, why don't you go
We
back
really do
over
have
there?
all the
But
country in
let's be
here.
really honest. Instead of you sitting there lifting up that flag from another country, why don't you lift up the flag from the United States of America and say, hey, I want to stay here. I love this country. I appreciate this country. It's a blessing to live here. I don't want to go back to any other country. And you wonder why patriots and United States citizens like myself are fed up seeing this stuff. Because you're ungrateful. You don't appreciate the blessing it is to live in the United States of America. If you did, you wouldn't lift a flag of a foreign country that didn't do nothing for you.
Interesting video and topic there. Some good talking points. We have to realize that the anger is rising in people all across the country. Violence is growing in the Rio Grande, where Mexican drug cartels, let me flip this around so you guys can see it here, where Mexican cartels are threatening to use drones to drop bombs on U.S. Border Patrol agents. This is according to a memo that was obtained by Newsmax sent out by the U.S. Border Patrol. It says this is a major increase in the threat to the United States. It's specifically in the southern regions. He says where we've been talking about recently, we've had a lot of gun battles between the U.S. Border Patrol cartel near Fronton, Texas. The memo from the Border Patrol's Rio Grande sector, dated Thursday, this last week, urges personnel to take all precautions, states that the cartels have authorized now the use of weaponized drones with explosives to be used against Border Patrol and law enforcement officers. Now, I broke that information to you maybe 72 hours ago, maybe 48 hours ago, and we started talking about how you would begin protecting your home in the event of drone attacks. So nothing is getting better there. Actually, things are getting a lot worse. Now, let's see what else we've got here. This is wild. This is a video reportedly from Toronto. An aspiring assassin, the report reads, dressed as a city construction worker, sets up shop in front of a home. This is the second attempted murder at the same home within the past year. I've got to turn this around. Okay. So this guy right here, you see he looks like, and I've told you about this, guys, you can't trust just because they have a vest on. I can go buy a vest that looks just like a local garbage person vest or a road worker vest. You can buy a high vis or any sort of branded vest anywhere in the world. You can go and buy Walmart jackets. You can go and buy post office shirts. You can go and buy whatever you want or make your own. So don't trust just because your eyes tell you that this is a city worker, or just because your eyes tell you that this is a person that has a reason to be here, that they do. Because these types of things are happening. So this guy sets up shop looking like a city worker, right? Construction worker. I don't know why he's following this person there, but he finally decides to make his move. Pulls out his get and goes to take the shot. Why he's shooting him there? That seems like there's probably a secondary motivation here. Because why? And obviously can't operate the tool that he's trying to use. Must be made from. Can I say it's made from China yet? We used to be able to say that. I don't know if we can say it again. So obviously his tool isn't very operational. Maybe he's just dim-witted. I mean, how ignorant do you have to be right here? And then gets into his vehicle, decides to drive away. Even like turns around for the cameras to pick him up. What is happening? He says, "What is this? Good effing luck." This is GTA right now. Phoebe from Friends. The owner seems pretty straightforward and normal. They didn't send their best to do the job. Does anyone recognize these places? Not a robbery, a hit. Not sure about the situation, but Canada doesn't have these laws that's overrun with crime, according to this report. So watch out, guys. These types of things are happening in the U.S. too. Here's tens of thousands of British people reportedly on the streets of London. They're playing the YMCA song. I can't play it, of course, here on YouTube. They're playing it. Let me see. It looks like I froze up there, guys. Did I freeze up for you? Let me see. Up again. How about that? Are we back up and rolling or not quite yet? It looks like I'm still frozen, but my audio's... Okay, so you should be back up here with me right now. I don't know why we froze up, but you should be back up and rolling with me. Let me know if you are. Give me a 5x5 in the chat. You're good. You're back. Okay, perfect. So I can't play the YMCA audio here, but they're reporting that thousands of Brits are in the streets for Trump. And they're calling it MAGA. I'm sure you've heard of it before, right? MAGA. Make Europe great again. A lot of politicians are really against this. Elon Musk is definitely for it. They're trying to do what has happened in America in other countries. Basically take the countries back. Take them back to what they used to be. YMCA, Play It, Brad. I can't. They'll like make it so the video can't be played. So these are reportedly people in other countries wanting to be just like America. Okay, here is an explosion at a toxic California refinery. I think it was actually it was a Martinez refinery in Contra Costa, California. Now, these explosions, are they sabotage? Do we have something bigger playing out? Because we are over in breaking up pretty bad. Let me see. Still? I don't know what's going on with the audio or the video tonight. We should be good. I shouldn't have too many problems here. Everything says excellent condition on my side. Let's see. Maybe it'll give us a second. Maybe we'll come back in. Not getting anything. I think you guys might be watching before where it was getting pretty choppy. So what are we actually experiencing here? Is this acts of sabotage like what we're doing with Russia? It very well could be. So we just kind of have to keep our eyes peeled on that. Let's watch the video of this. This is the Martinez Refining Company. I've got another video that's going to follow right along after this. Where's the cry-outs? Where are the crybabies? Talking about my using a chainsaw to cut my trees down, or my driving a vehicle when these types of fires happen. Nobody's trying to hold these companies accountable. Nobody's trying to do anything except come after you for your relative freedoms. Try refreshing. You might be able to fix it, if you refresh.
Yeah, but it wasn't this bad. I've never seen it this bad.
I am not crazy. I have to feel like this.
Okay, refresh worked. Yeah, this is Contra Costa, California, happening over there. Definitely going to put lots of toxicity, toxic things back on our plants. So watch out. Okay, here is. They say this happened right before an ICE immigration raid took place. Led to a completely empty warehouse. The employees ran after co-workers. Let's watch.
This shit is crazy, bro. Loco, pero quédense juntos para por la mosca porque están aquí.
I don't know what he's saying.
Fuck. Loco, lo que tenés, dame la llave.
¿Dónde está? Levántame la mano.
Dame la llave más bien. Si yo puedo manejar.
A lot of times, Salty, even the feeds that are on X, even though X isn't going to come after it, they're published. They have algorithms that go after it from other publishers. I guess this guy's chasing down the people who weren't supposed to be there after ICE came, or before ICE came.
A ver dónde pedo están estos cerotes. Okay, check it. Dale pues, dale pues. Pero quédense juntos por la mosca, ¿me entendés?
Interesting. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, these are the protests we talked about at the beginning of this video. Apparently, we have these huge protests that I haven't had them in my area, but guys, I'm in Trump country. So apparently, we have these protests in major cities across southern states near the borders. We have them happening in New York. We have them happening in Pennsylvania, definitely out west, waving Mexican flags, people protesting the immigration, people protesting, Trump, protesting the enforcement of these. You saw Cheech? Was Cheech the Spanish guy or was that Chong? I don't know. Don't post if you're just here to visit. If you mean the country or if you mean the live stream. Oh yeah, there we go. So this guy, he's got his, F word Trump sticker over there to the left. You can see there's a lot of people here, guys. This is no small, Cheech has the stash. Okay. Cheech has got the mustache. Oh, does that mean Chong did the mustache rides? Okay, let's skip. National Association of Home Builders. They say that raising taxes on imported construction materials will reduce home building and raise the prices. They make this post out. Okay, let me make it right so you guys can read it with me. Text like this, no problem. They say the Honorable Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, to the White House at the address. Tariffs on building materials. Dear President Trump, our country is facing a severe housing shortage, which we're not. We're facing a cost of living issue, an affordability crisis, which they recognize there. Bringing down the cost of housing will require a coordinated effort to remove obstacles to construction, be they regulatory, labor, or supply chain related. The NAHB is ready to work with you, he says, to accomplish these goals. However, we have concerns that a proposed tariff on Canada and Mexico will have the opposite effect by slowing down the domestic residential construction industry. So I'm kind of like dual-sided with this, right? We need tariffs. We need to start doing this. But the problem is that we have no mechanisms that stop the manufacturers, and you can't in our system, that stop the manufacturers from passing that 25% right on to you. So who's really actually going to hurt? Who's going to get hurt here? We've screwed the pooch by allowing corruption and evil behavior to last for too long. So the person who's going to get hurt is you and me, we the people. We're always the ones getting squished. Now, he says an ongoing challenge that faces home buyers, cost of and availability of building materials. Since 2021, they saw prices increase over 30%. Now, how can anybody out there look at the federal reserve or the federal numbers that say we are only at 3% inflation and not see that at the grocery store, at your electrical company, your water system, everything, we're at 20 to 40%. Hey, Jay, glad to see you here. Glad to have you here in the evening. Yeah, it only hurts the little guy. Klaus Schwab, you will own nothing and be happy. We have our own trees, our own mills. Let us cut and plant. Again, I can't afford a house at these prices. I can't afford to go out and buy or build a house right now. So to think that we're going to make it 30% more loses my friggin' mind. Rent's gone up 5 times in 4 years. So many are against the wall financially. So many can't take much more. And that's the thing. They're going to push us until we're literally at the end of our ability to take anything. And then what's going to happen? Revolution. And it's not going to be pretty. And I'm not happy with it. And it's going to be scary. Then you're going to see lots of trouble in the streets. So what do? A couple of write-ins here say a sort of public choice explanation. The aging population bought houses as a major part of their investment. They're unlikely to support policies that result in... No, come on now. This dude, the esoterica, come on. Get real and get with it. Home buyers insurance increased over $100 a month. You're lucky because a lot of the home buyers and homeowners insurance is up like 1,500%. Rebuild all the domestic producers that were wrecked with NAFTA. You mean taxes on corporations or tax on to the consumer? Who knew? Yeah, it's going to be bad. Definitely going to be bad. Trump has said that if Canada decides to retaliate against the imposed tariffs, then we will double them. That's scary. That blows my mind because could you imagine we see 50% tariffs, even if it's for a month? Now, it might only be for a month, but guess what? The companies are going to pass that on to you, and then they're going to keep them there, and they'll take them back a little bit. But if you tax me 12 inches and you take back 2, you're still taxing me 10 inches. You tax me $100 and you take back 20%, you're still taxing me $80. So they're going to make it, they're going to give it to us in a bad way, and it's going to be really hard. I want to move, but my town is kind of small and quiet. You might be in the best place then. Prepare for an angrier world. Those are all the things that they're saying at all of these meetings. That people are going to go into unrest mode, that you're going to see hunger, starvation, you're going to see disease. They're already planning for disease X. You remember that? Well, they're saying that's coming. Now, what's it going to be? Bad. Bad news. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, they say this is why we need Doge for the Department of Government Efficiency. Listen to all these projects that the government has been wasting money on.
Has an account, and he calls himself the Doge update guy. The Department of Government Efficiency, a lot of their programs are being cut. And I'm going to name you 5 of them. But if you go follow his account, he talks about 30 plus, maybe even more. And when I read you these, I want you to know this is not a skit. These are real programs that our federal government is putting money towards. You ready? Okay, number 1. The government is spending $1.4 million annually.
You say she's got crazy eyes?
National Bubble Wrap Relief Study. They're trying to study if popping bubble wrap relieves stress. Yes. Okay, let's move on. Number 2. Federal government is spending $2.3 million to teach clowns how to fold balloons into animals. Number 3. The government is spending $1.8 million yearly to fund a program. I don't even think I'm going to be able to say this without laughing. To guide you, it's called a sock pairing guide program. It's guidance so you can pair your socks.
Let me hear how much money.
$8 million. Number 3. The government is spending $1.8 million yearly to fund a program. I don't even think I'm going to be able to say this without laughing. To guide you, it's called a sock pairing guide program.
Now this gets me because they've screwed us so hard and so far and for so long that we look at those numbers where she's like $1.8 million and we're like, that's nothing. Where in reality that is something. Because they do this in 8 million different directions. And if they do it in 8 million different directions in 8 million different ways, you've got a massive amount of corruption and money. So it's very important. Even calling out one of these instances is very important.
It's guidance so you can pair your socks correctly. Let's continue. The government is spending $10 billion annually to furnish vacant buildings around the country.
Somebody
Yes,
says,
you
why
heard me
do
correct.
they hate us? I'm going to take to Grok, which is X.com's artificial intelligence chatbot. I'm going to say, with all of the things that... Let me get you right so you guys can watch this. Oh, you were watching it the right way. With all the things that are happening in a country of the USA, why does it feel like the government hates us? Let's see what Grok's got to say about this. The perception that the U.S. government might hate its citizens can stem from several complex factors, often amplified by current events, political polarization, and the nature of government-citizen interactions. Here are some key reasons based on the available information. 1. Distrust and cynicism towards government. So we all know distrust. Let's make sure that we understand what cynicism, a negative outlook on life that involves distrust in others' motives or intentions. There's a long-standing trend, AI says, of increasing distrust in the U.S. government. This is reflected, type faster, somebody says, this is reflected in various surveys where a significant portion of the population expresses frustration or anger. The sentiment that the government does not serve the interests of ordinary citizens, but rather those of special interest groups or political insiders can contribute to this feeling. Well, I mean, that says it all right there, right? That, we obviously have a little bit bigger of an issue. Let's see. I do see us buffering again here. Come on now. Come on, YouTube. Give it the program. We're trying to make a live show here. Let's see what the next part is. Public perception of government efficiency. Many Americans perceive government services as inefficient and of lower quality compared to private sector alternatives. This leads, they say, to negative views. This is often highlighted by dissatisfaction with things like tax collection. Maybe Trump just put this in. He's like, why does the government hate America? It told him why Americans hate the government. And he's like, these are the points we're going to take care of. Because it sure seems like each one of these is a blueprint for what's going on. Economic and social policy. They say that the policies perceived as burdensome or out of touch with public needs can lead to feelings of alienation. When people feel that their daily life struggles are not addressed or made worse by government action, then you have resentment. Cultural and ideological divides. There's a sense that the government might favor certain cultural groups over others, leading to feelings of marginalization among those who perceive themselves not part of the favored groups. Media influence, government outreach or overreach, lack of direct benefit perception. Yeah, this is Grok. So obviously X knows what's up. Now maybe, I don't know. What do you guys say? Is it an echo chamber? Or is that really what's up? Because it sure looks to me like that's really what's up.
$10 billion. And last but certainly not least, because
Hey, Myra.
there's plenty more where this came from, we are spending $1.7 million annually to create a stapler that will not jam. I am not even effing joking you. That's right here. It says that. It's real.
I like that she said that's right here, but it's her written notes. I love that. All right, let's move past her. Okay, I've got to invert this. 29-year-old man arrested for stabbing an 11-year-old girl in the Netherlands. First, I've got to ask the important question: are guns legal in the Netherlands? Guns are generally not legal for citizens. So what do? They stab people. And when you take away their knives, they'll bat people. And when you take away their bats, they'll screw drive people. And when you take away their screwdrivers, they'll use a hair razor on people. It doesn't stop, guys. You don't defeat the monster by just removing a couple of, things. No, the monster is the person. So if you notice the little button that says notice in the upper right-hand corner, it says that some of these videos are inverted on purpose for publishing reasons. So here they go. The cops came in, taking this guy away, 30 years old almost, stabbing an 11-year-old girl. Ridiculous. Currently taking place, well, not currently right now, of course. It's a little later in the night. A group of immigrants and protesters gathering in Manhattan, New York, USA, holding signs chanting for an end to Trump and an end to immigration. My parents fought for, what does that sign say? My parents fought for the future. Now I will fight for theirs. How does that make sense to them? What did your parents fight for? And how are you going to fight for them? No one is illegal. There is no USA without us. No one is illegal. Stolen land. So, I mean, we have a systematic problem here, right? And one of these systematic problems is that we don't have the realization of how the world works. How the world works is whoever's the best fighter and can keep it the longest is the owner. And that's unfortunate. We're not evolved past that as humans. It's still the biggest dog. It's still who controls the hill. It's still all of these things. So if another country, like if Russia came in and wiped out the USA, that would be Russia's land. It wouldn't be, no one would be able to cry and say, oh, well, it should be America's land, even though America took it from the Indians. The Indians took it from somebody before the Indians that we don't have any record of, and they took it from somebody else. And, it really should be the fish's land because we had the fish here before any bipedal people walked on this earth. And even before the fish, we had the microorganisms land. So we should really give it back to the microorganisms because we're all stealing it and making it uninhabitable for them. No, it's whoever controls it right now. And it's an unfortunate part of our world. Yeah, it's the dinosaurs' land, the caveman's land, So they're saying, fight for it, we'll rise up. No one is, it's a lot of it. You can tell they all sat down at the same exact paid-for non-government organization meeting to write the same exact thing in the same colors on different poster boards. Not a one of these people went to Michael's or the dollar store or Walmart to buy a poster board. They went to an NGO, a non-government organization that's probably paid for with your money. They got these posters. These guys holding it with their masks on because they're so ready but not willing to show their face. They're there for a reason. Somebody says, 100% my people perish for lack of knowledge. Brutality is king in this barbarism that we live in. When the world falls and the government fails, it's all about the law of the land, who owns it at that time. It's unfortunate. But it's reality, right? Okay, let's see what else we got here. This cop's like, you can't be doing this. Not on my watch. But he's saying it and he's like, ma'am, could I please have you, can I call you ma'am? That's what he looks like he's asking first. May I call you ma'am? And then she's like, no. And he's like, listen, you can't, please will you not be here? I don't know. I wish we could lip read him. Keep ICE out of school. You know how many warm drinks we're going to have if we start keeping ICE out of school? Is that really what you want? We raise our voice. We are not criminals. You're right. And actually, I have a video of that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that video real quick. Because you're right. In this country, I want people to be able to move to the country that they want to be in. I want to be able to be in the country that I want to be in. And I hope that you do too. And here's a perfect example. Here's how it's done, this person says. Watching my dad get citizenship after all of his hard work and all of his efforts. Really having a stream problem tonight, aren't we? Okay, back on live. This is how you do it right, people. This is how it should be done. The video says, watching my dad after all of his hard work. And what is he doing? He's becoming a U.S. citizen. And how is he doing it? That's right. at the U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services Office, where he pledges his allegiance to the United States of America and waves what kind of flag? Oh, that's right, the American flag. Huh. So isn't that strange? Isn't that interesting that you have all of these ideals, but yet that is how it should be done? And now this, I agree 100%. And can we tone it down a little? Yes, of course. Can we make it more economical? Yes, of course. Sure. Can we take away some of the hoops that people have to jump through? I believe in that 100%. But this is how it needs to be done right here. Okay, let's move past this. Senate hearing from 10 years ago. Obama's DOT secretary shares concerns about FAA controllers and how they're hired. Somebody says, I'm not a mind reader, but it's safe to say that he didn't want to say the quiet part out loud. I haven't listened to this. Let's give it a listen together.
I really want to talk about the CTI schools and the fact that just a few months ago, the FAA made some very dramatic changes to the way they're hiring our air traffic controllers. And among those changes, the FAA now no longer relies on a pool of graduates from its collegiate training initiative, our CTI schools. The FAA has added a new test to screen candidates they call the biographical questionnaire. Well, I am hearing from our CTI schools in my state, in Washington State, that they are very worried about their graduates, and I'm hearing from the graduates.
You're right, Ang. Everybody's saying it. It does take way too long, and there's way too many hoops that people have to jump through. But this is how it needs to be done, right here. Waving the American flag inside of an American immigration office, taking your Americanized test to be in where? In what country? Oh, that's right, America. Oh, you got it right. Okay.
As well, one CTI graduate from Washington State graduated with high honors, passed an FAA test for initial qualification, has almost 5 years of service in the Air Force, and a commercial pilot certificate with an instrumental rating. That young man took this biographical questionnaire and failed it for reasons that are very unclear, and he's not the only one in this situation. So I want you to explain to us how the FAA has improved this process, if this kind of applicant that I just described and many others are failing this initial screening.
Somebody says she looks like she hates life. I don't know. I think that maybe she's a dungeon master in a long-standing Dungeons and Dragons campaign. That's the vibes I'm getting from her. Here's Piers Morgan and Tucker Carlson back and forth. Let's skip around. I do want to do a little commentary on this. Let me just give you I know that their publishers are going to come after this video, so I don't really want to play it too much. Piers Morgan says everyone in England used to have projectile tools. Now they don't. The consequences of this is that crime went away by guns. Tucker Carlson says, oh, London's safe now? Piers Morgan says, well, we do have a crime problem with knives. He says you have a people problem, where there's lots of knife crime or shootings in England in the 70s. You imported people, he said, who stab each other. You didn't used to have that.
Stabbed in London in 1970 or shot compared to now.
Sure, but
it's a massive increase because the attitudes of the people, the actions of the people are totally different. You've got different people and different behaviors, and you can't admit.
Interesting. All right, let's move past that. In case you missed this during the Kash Patel hearing, here, take a listen.
They tried to destroy him. They tried to financially ruin him and his family. Folks on the other side can't actually believe and can't come to grips that they're in this position right now. That they're in the minority and that President Trump is back in office. Because what they did was, after he was out of office, they tried to destroy him. They tried to financially ruin him and his family. They tried to intimidate.
I saw that. We did some video about that refinery, Mark.
For the rest of his life. They tried to demonize half the country. Their opening and closing argument for the last 4 years has been that President Trump and Republicans are a threat to democracy.
Okay, he continues on. That's only about 30% into the video. He's rooting for a team. Let's just say it like that. I'm glad you made it too, Cree. Okay, here's a farmer. It says, where are all the bugs? What's going on? There's something happening. Farmers are noticing a very concerning decline in bees, birds, and insects. I was speaking with a park ranger at Rutland, says this report. They said to have also noticed an obvious decline in the numbers of birds and insects that they monitor in the last several years. They don't know what's going on.
Where are all the insects? Let me just show you this. Just hold on a minute. I don't know whether you can see this. I've got a bit of glare on the screen, so I can't really be sure whether you're going to see it properly. This is a buddleia.
Not in their area. There's bloom.
All the lovely flowers on it. These are butterflies and bees' favourites. I mean, normally there's bees and butterflies on
Hey,
these
empty
all the
ice.
time. I haven't seen one this year. Not one.
The fog? Boy, wouldn't that be
Fog,
crazy?
right? But
I would
nothing
suspect that
like
we
it should
would have
be.
seen huge amounts of die-off and fallout, but maybe not. You know, they're genetically modifying mosquitoes, right? And so if they're genetically modifying mosquitoes, and they screw up a little, because let's face it, we're mankind. We screw things up, and we're real darn good at it. So if they're genetically modifying mosquitoes for certain ways, and the mosquitoes and the other bugs that are taking on these properties, hey Nemesis, glad to have you here, and these other bugs that take on these properties, what if they just stop breeding? And so you don't notice a huge die-off. You don't see just the ground littered with dead bugs, but they just don't breed like they used to.
I mean,
It's almost like the way that they have over-medicated a population and we don't breed like we used to. Why are we having declining birth rates, declining testosterone? Women are having massive amounts of miscarriage issues and fertility issues. It's almost like it's done on purpose, isn't it? Now, let's not say it is, but it's almost like it's done on purpose.
milking people will know this. In this time of year, they're an absolute pain in the fucking arse in the pile of the flies. But look.
I do a video of
there's
a murder
nothing
of
on
crows.
there. There's a few flies knocking about, but nothing like there should be. What do you think? Well, I looked at the cows yesterday in the yard. I mean, it was a crap day yesterday. There is open cloud today, but yesterday was just overcast. It was warm, but just under that blanket that we've had all bloody summer. I mean, the grass growth is fucking awful. I've actually
Sick and tired. Thank you so much for the super chat alert. Our system has failed. It very much has failed. And we're going to either see a fast crash or a slow crash. And depending on which way it goes, you better be real ready for real hard times or just be accumulated or acclimated to times getting worse. Is he down under? I can't pick out where he's from. Let me see if anyone posts anything about it. A lot of people are saying the same thing, though. No bugs on the windshield. Move to rural communities. Thousands of insects dropping dead. Bill Gates with his insect paste. I think that might be AI, honestly, because the insect paste doesn't look very well transcribed. I always think about this, he says, when the birds used to migrate. I got stung by a bee for the first time in 30 years, but I have noticed fewer bugs. Not a conspiracy. We used to hear a lot of frogs at night. Now you hardly hear them. Bee pollination used to be everywhere. Now these flowers are very scarce. This guy shows videos of what we obviously don't do here in the United States of America. So interesting. All right, let's see what else we've got. Oh, here's more. ICE mass deportation protests, all chanting F Donald Trump. So I won't play the audio. Mexican flags as far as you can see, the poster says. But I will play the video for us to see. You will eat the bugs. Bro, I haven't hit a bug in 4 years in rural Missouri. That's wild. What's the blue stuff up there? Where do you mean? Yeah, silver is expected to go higher. Look at these protests. Look at all the flag. Not a one American flag. Where's this at? Oh, I wish I could see where this is at. Somebody else says, where is this? Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell where it's at. Anybody see a license plate anywhere? Oh, man, come on. Okay. Where is that? Anybody know that plate? I don't know where that plate is. See if I can find another plate somewhere. No front plates. Thank you, Jewel. Jules. First super chat. Thank you so much. Looks like Cali or Texas. I thought Texas, but I wasn't sure. It looked like it was fuzzy, but it looked like there was another extra letter. That looks a little bit like Cali, I guess. I play some GeoGuessr. I don't know if you guys have ever played GeoGuessr. It's a fun game where it's a browser game. If you play on somebody who has an account that lets you play with them, you don't have to pay for it. That's how we do it. It's a game that you kind of like use cues and information about the highways to be able to see where where a location is. You guess the location. So no more information there. Okay, here's a video. 24 Chinese illegal immigrants busted. Let me turn this around so you can read it. Busted in a smuggling operation, allegedly, in Coral Gables, U.S. state of Florida. 2 vans transporting almost 30 people illegally here from China, intercepted by Florida police. The police chief said they believe the illegals got to Florida by boat at the southern end of the... Why would you come here from China all the way down to Florida? That makes no sense. He says, we believe they came by boat. They came through a secluded area in the southern end. They're coming up through a canal area that leads to a private marina. He says the smugglers were Cuban and Puerto Rican carrying a firearm. That story does not check out. You don't go from China mainland all the way down almost to the East Coast, the whole East Coast, up to Florida and decide you come up with some Cuban smugglers? No, come on. This is something else going on, obviously. I gotta turn the music off.
Party will leverage Chinese nationals to do things that are nefarious and against the interests of the United States.
That's interesting.
China is buying up thousands and thousands of acres of land in the Caribbean, places like Antigua, the Bahamas. It's being called America's third border, and we're told that's a place where these Chinese migrants stop on their way to Florida. We spoke with Congressman...
Interesting. Thank you, Sel Mortimer. Sel says... Great show, Brad. Greetings from behind the communist curtain in Eugene, Oregon. The geoengineering is killing the bugs, and all of us filthy, despicable, eating, never ceasing human beings. So yeah, there's just some wildness going on. Thank you so much for that super chat. Watch out if there's something bigger here. Now, these guys don't look like bioscientists to me, but I guess I wouldn't know one if I saw one, right? But we did see China operating biolabs here on U.S. soil inside the USA. You got to start putting some sort of piece together. I mean, you don't know if a puzzle's going to be, you're doing the right piece if you don't just try. So that's what we're doing here. Trying to put some pieces together because, like, what the F is really going on here? Guys, if you could take a quick second, hit the like button down there. Leave, say something nice. And share this video with friends and family if you have anyone who you think would be interested in the community. Don't alienate anybody. If your Aunt Karen doesn't like to know what's going on in the world and she's more worried about what's going on with people that she has nothing to do with, don't send it to her, probably. But maybe we'll turn Karen around. You never know. But yeah, please hit that like button. If you'd like to think about joining us as a member, we're only like 18 people away from hitting a milestone. So if you want to join us, it's down by the subscribe button down there. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's move on. Let's listen here.
More than 100. Caroline, there are...
It's going to be hard to hear this one because they don't give you the audio of this reporter, but I'll try to say it.
More than 150.
Okay, it looks like they typed it on. So I would want to leave this not inverted, but I've got it inverted. I'm sorry. He says, I'll read it to you. Caroline, there are more than 150,000, he says, disabled Americans who are working today.
The president talked a lot yesterday.
The president talked a lot yesterday about hiring the best and the brightest to work in the federal government. Safety aside, does he believe that disabled people do have a place to work in the federal government? And does he also support the current protections for... Why is that... Who decided to put the OK symbol on the front of their phone right there? In the private sector. The president... Okay, now let's listen to what she has to say. It'll be louder.
Private sector as well.
The president has made it very clear that this is a common sense solution to solving some of the problems that we have seen at the Federal Aviation Administration and also when it comes to many of the federal agencies across our government. People should not be hired based on their disabilities, based on their skin color, their gender.
Thank you so much, Kyle Ball. He says, hello from Northern California. The cartel are firing at Border Patrol and Trump could use that as a declaration of war. Things could get crazy. Yeah, we just saw a report out at the beginning of this broadcast in which the U.S. Border Patrol sent out a memo that was picked up by some media. It was leaked out to some media. That memo said that the cartels have given the official go-ahead to use weaponized drones and explosives against U.S. Border Patrol, National Guardsmen, and the military on the border. So we do have to keep a close eye there. And thank you for the super chat.
None of that matters. What matters to this president and this administration is how well you can do your job. And the American people agree with that sentiment. So it's about competence, skill, and merit. And so the president is focused on ensuring that the most competent individuals, the best and the brightest in this country, are in positions in this federal government, especially when it comes to public safety. Can't overemphasize the importance of those jobs.
Somebody said she looks like Kelly Bundy or Christina Applegate from Married with Children. Could you imagine Married with Children out today? That would be wild. Last year, if Married with Children came out, it would be nothing but silence and them like looking at each other sadly. Okay, people be careful. Okay, listen to how out of touch this guy is. Absolutely out of touch with reality.
It's sad. Well, I think people, they're investing in individual stocks. It's sad. They're careful when they buy a refrigerator or an airplane flight. They're careful with their money, and they'll hear about a stock on the bus, and they'll put $5,000 or $10,000 on it. They have no idea what they do. So,
how out of touch with reality is this guy who thinks that the average American person is on the bus, first of all, and spending money on a new refrigerator carefully, and spending money on a new washing machine carefully and appliances in their house, but is going to go and throw $10,000 at a stock that they heard a rumor about by their fellow bus mate. I don't know, maybe it's just because I come from the South and I don't, the buses around here, the people who are driving the buses don't have big money, or who are riding in the buses don't have big money. But maybe I'm just, out of touch with it. You guys let me know. This guy thinks that you're saving your money and spending wisely on an appliance like your refrigerator, but riding the bus and buying stocks for 10 grand.
You're really got to be careful. Look at the company, look at the balance sheet. What is the reason the stock should be higher? The sucker's going up. It's not a good reason.
Is your sense, though, that the style of investing that you pioneered is still doable and winnable today?
Well, I think looking for something different.
Thank you, Pam B, for the $2 super chat. Thanks again for your informative videos. Thank you for being here as a member of the Full Spectrum community and family. Yeah, somebody said it would be married and woke with children. Let's see, what would Bud Bundy be doing? I guess Bud Bundy would be taking some sort of college course that he had to work extra hard for because of his background. And his college course would be about righting the wrongs of the misogynistic types of, his parenthood. Kelly Bundy, what would she be doing in married, woke, and with children? Kelly, I guess, would be raising blue-haired children with ideologies of not, are you happy today? And that's what you would be asking them. Are you happy about, not getting in trouble? And what would Peg be doing? Well, I guess Peg would be true to her name and married, woke, with children. So I'm not saying anything beyond that. Hey, Storm, we're glad to have you in here. They were telling people to buy on the day of the 2008 crash. I tend to do the opposite of what mainstream says to do. It says time traveler. Broke with children. Yeah, Peg with her smoker's voice. Joy says full spectrum survival. What do you think about Tanya Harding coming out all of a sudden just days before the Russian ice skater? There's a lot of weirdness with that whole Russian ice skater thing and the Doomsday plane being up in the air. There's a little bit more information coming out, but it all seems like it's thrown together real quick, like some sort of quick cover. Kelly turned out to be good with the movies. Yeah, Kelly Bundy, Christina Applegate. I guess she had a little bit of health trouble, but she was good on the movies. It's never good news these days. Well, the good news is we're still above ground. We're still breathing. We're still talking about it and getting ready. Now, what's up with these guys' eyes on this screen? I just noticed this. It's like they're having reverse image strokes. The guy it's like their closest eye to each other is trying to stroke out. Now, guys, if you understand what a stroke is like, you got a droopy side to your face. It's hard to smile. You don't have any sort of recognition of certain things. So just, if I saw this guy on the street talking like this, I'd be like, hey, are you okay? And just give him a second to make sure he's okay.
Would have gone up 50-fold, or Stop and Shop would go up 10-fold, or Analog Devices, or NVIDIA. I couldn't pronounce NVIDIA. So you have to find a company that's either a turnaround. All
right, I'm done listening to this old dude. This person writes in and says, if you were to criticize these machine-wielding newcomers into this country on social media in Britain, you could go to jail. So you might be a prisoner if you saw something wrong with this. Oh, it's a good thing they took away their knives or their guns in Britain because people would be violent if you didn't. So it's a good thing they took away their guns. Oh, hold on. They're chasing each other with knives or machetes. Well, it's a good thing they made machetes illegal in Britain because if you didn't make machetes illegal, they would chase each other and be violent with them. Oh, wait a second. They're still doing it? You're freaking kidding me. Thanks, Overton. What are we surviving today? Protests across the USA against immigration and Trump. We've got lots of acts of violence out there. People wearing official high-vis gear, setting up shops, looking like construction workers, and then turning around and trying to assassinate people. What aren't we surviving? Britain is a mess, that's right. Here's Trump. Let me see if we can hear it.
President, is there...
Okay, we can listen.
President, is there anything China, Canada, and Mexico can do tonight to forestall your implementation of tariffs tomorrow?
No.
I love that answer. And it's obvious that this already took place, right? But the reporter asked, is there anything that China, Canada, and Mexico could say or do for you that would stop these tariffs from going through? Now, are they going to last? No, guys, don't get me wrong. Will the companies still pass that tax on to you? Yes.
President, is there anything China, Canada, and Mexico can do tonight to forestall your implementation of tariffs tomorrow?
No, nothing. Not right now, no.
Not a negotiating tool?
No, it's not. No, it's a pure economic. We have big deficits with, as you know, with all three of them. And in one case, they're
Our
sending
boy, that's
massive
funny.
amounts of fentanyl, killing hundreds of thousands of people a year with the fentanyl.
President, is there...
Overton. 1 tomato plant, 7 fruit right now, Montana. Bro, that's all we can do. Do all that you can. If you're growing 1 tomato plant, you're doing more than almost all these other people. So absolutely, grow a tomato plant. 100%. Keep it growing. If you can grow 2, grow 2. If you could do a little more, do a little more. I'm all for this. Looks like my audio is trying to get, or my stream is trying to give me a little trouble here. Oh yeah, we're down real low. 1,300 kilobytes. Come on now. Let me see if we bump back up. Because we are, guys, we're in the middle of the woods. Running on Starlink. Grow a community garden. Preppers cracked their code. Aren't they a part of the breakaway society, somebody says? Avocados are going to go up. Let's see. All right, it looks like we're back with some decent stream numbers. This is the plane crash in Pennsylvania, that medevac plane. Everybody's like, geez, it looks like a missile. I don't know. Starlink is great. But you do have, you know, when they skip satellites, when it goes from one to the other, sometimes you'll notice an interruption. Or maybe, honestly, it could be that my one of my kids over there is downloading a game, or I might have an auto update on. Who knows? Jimmy, that's a long name. Jimmy Mangino and the Broken Toe Band. Digging it, man. Okay, so does anybody know who this is? Because obviously they're getting, and for gaming, that's right. They're getting the kids ready in other countries a lot more than they are here. Let me mute that. She's showing you how to, like, be a Donatello. If you grew up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Gives you the A-OK. Here's what you do with it. Let me skip to just where she's doing something. Now, I want to see her fight Barack Hussein Obama's wife. Can we get that together? All right, here's the White House.
When you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question.
Okay. All right, I guess she's mic dropping right there. The Trump effect, they call this.
What? What?
Whose audio is this? I want them to read me an audiobook at night.
What? What? So you mean to tell me there's no drunks at this time blasting their fucking cumbia on their little fucking...
Okay, she's hardcore. Listen to this, okay? Somebody says, is she the perfect woman or is she an op? All right, just listen.
She already has 12 other guys telling her she's pretty. Be different. Send her unregistered firearms.
I'm not okay with this, ATF. I'm not agreeing with this. It's a funny meme for commentary purposes only. She says she already has, she's talking about like your love life, right? Your girlfriend. Let me see here. I don't know what happened to my video. Did we crash out? Okay. Yeah, so ATF, I'm not okay with this. All right? Hold on. I think we may have crashed out. You guys tell me. Back into it. All right. You tell me if we're back. Give me a 5x5 if we're back. Maybe they didn't like what we were talking about. Okay, we're back. Okay, I know that our bitrate is not great, our speed. Okay, so let me just say it again, because it might have cut me out. If the ATF is listening, I am not okay with this. This is a funny video for commentary purposes.
She already has 12 other guys telling her she's pretty. Be different. Send her unregistered firearms.
So I don't know, is she the perfect woman, as they say, or is she a fed? Is this an op? Because it kind of seems like an op to me. Let's move on. A former FBI agent appeared on Fox News, cryptically stating that these types of accidents, speaking of the planes falling out of the sky, happen in threes.
But they're very methodical in the way that they investigate these things.
They are indeed, and thank goodness for their investigations. And thank goodness for you, Jonathan Gilliam. Great to have you with us as always. And I'm sorry we are doing this again, just 48 hours after you and I were talking about the crash in D.C. Jonathan,
Can I say
thank
one more
you
thing
so
to you?
much.
Can I say one more thing to you
real
about
quick,
this?
Jonathan. Yeah.
One thing, I don't want to scare anybody, but one thing that's very peculiar, because I thought this was the case and I looked it up, is that these types of accidents...
That's right. It's a comedy show, YouTube. Give me a break here, okay? Just let us have some fun between friends.
or more. So it would not surprise me in 3 accidents. It will often happen in 3s or more. So it would not surprise me if within the next month, we have another accident.
Okay, so this is a former FBI agent out there on a news broadcast saying that, and he interrupted this guy. He was like, hey, don't cut me off. I need to say this. Maurice, thank you so much. I washed my feet today. I think we should all give a big thumbs up or a +1 to Maurice getting them feet washed. If you really are diabetic and that was an achievement, I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. If you just are like me, then I'm all for that too. So this guy tells this news broadcast, hey, don't cut me off. I need to say this.
Thank goodness for you, Jonathan Gilliam. Great to have you with us as always. And I'm sorry we are doing this again, just 48 hours after you and I were talking about the crash in D.C. Jonathan,
Can I say
thank
one more
you
thing
so
to you?
much.
Can I say one more thing to you
real
about
quick,
this?
Jonathan. Yeah.
So a former FBI agent says, hey, let me not get cut off yet. Let me say one more thing to you.
One thing, I don't want to scare anybody, but one thing is very peculiar, because I thought this was the case and I looked it up, is that these types of accidents, it will often happen in 3s or more. So it would...
Now, what is this does he know anything? If he does, what does this former FBI agent know, saying that these types of things will happen in 3s or more? Pay attention to what's happening.
He's the biggest in the world in terms of chips, and I can't say what's going to happen with it. We had a meeting. It was a good meeting.
Yeah, if you refresh, it'll be better.
Eventually, we're going to put tariffs on chips. We're going to put tariffs on oil and gas. That'll happen fairly soon. I think around the 18th of February. And we're going to put a lot of tariffs on steel. We already have tariffs on steel, and we've saved our steel industry, but that was relatively small compared to what it'll be. But we're going to be putting tariffs on steel and aluminum and ultimately copper. Copper will take a little bit longer.
Interesting. So tariffs everywhere. Here's Kash Patel talking about Nancy Pelosi.
Just look at Nancy Pelosi.
It keeps... Yeah, YouTube does keep closing the live. Yeah, exactly. Why is this happening? It's actually closing the live out. That blows my mind. So guys, I guess crowd excitement. I don't know. YouTube is PIS'd, maybe. I don't know. We definitely have some weirdness happening right here. Touchy subjects. Maybe they're like, not enough. Too many people are having a fun night tonight. So we need to this whole deal. But guys, we are up on our hour. I just want to thank you guys for being here with us. Maybe we can offset the wildness of what's happening out there by, with love and kindness and care. And maybe that's what we need to do, is focus on that today. So thank you guys for being here with us, enjoying spending time with you on our Saturday night together. Most of all, from my family to yours, talk with people, get them as prepared as you can. Don't let them know that you've got all your eggs or whatever. Just say, hey, it's probably a good time to get prepared. It's probably a good time to go camping, learn how to camp, learn how to hunt, learn how to fish, learn as many skills as you can. Teach other people the skills that you already have, and just be with each other. So guys, stay safe out there. We love you lots, and thank you for supporting my family. From mine to yours, I hope that you have a good